Good morning, everybody. We're very fortunate to have Ana Castro with us. Ana is originally from Brazil, and now she lives in Houston for several years. And she's going to tell us about a conference she's involved in called the Science and Spirituality Connection. Craig, I'd like you to welcome Ana on behalf of AREI, and perhaps you could empathize with her with what she's going through about organizing a conference.
Oh, yes, Anna, we've done that. We've done it 4 times, so we know what you're going through now. This is a real pleasure to have Anna here. She's very knowledgeable. She has been working with Sonia Rinaldi, and she'll be talking about Sonia Rinaldi. Looking forward to that today. And so this should be a very, very interesting presentation. And with that, then I'll turn it over to you, Anna.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Wendy and Craig, for this opportunity. Like Wendy said, my name is Ana Castro, Ana Claudia Castro, and I was born in Brazil. I'm 51 years old. Yay! 2 beautiful sons, and like mommy, yeah, I'm very proud of my 2 boys. And I am graduated in chemical engineering, master in chemical processes, and post-graduation in Italy on the same area. So I come from the science field. And I did work for Dow Chemical, which is a American company back in Brazil for a few years before I relocated over here. And then when Dow decided to relocate me, to US, to Houston area 12 years ago. And from here, they sent me to work in projects done in UK, Germany, South Korea, lots of places. But today I work as project manager, still dealing with projects for the same business and industry. So as such, the basis of my belief is Christianism, but I have had since my childhood hints here and there that were kind of leading me to learn or pushing me to learn more from spiritual realms than what the Catholic faith was able to explain to me. So I have had like visions, dreams, or at least what I thought were dreams, and information that was given or told to me every once in a while from someone that I was not able to actually see, but somehow I was becoming aware of information about facts that was supposed to happen in a little, in the future, things like this. So for a curious person like me, that was all I needed to start a long research by my own. And on top of that, I truly wanted to find out why, for example, our Holy Father, Holy and Caring Father, would allow a mother to experience a terrible pain such as missing a child, or for what reason a child had to go through a terrible and painful cancer, why I was allowed to have a house, food, and family, while there were several people hungry and living on the streets, right? So those questions, those were the questions that I knew the Catholicism was never able to explain or to answer to me. So I was about 8 years old when those questions started to bother me. And however, even though I was too young, I always felt like I needed a very deep and consistent reason for all my questions. And I do have a very analytical mind. I guess I need that as an engineer. But today I do recognize that this characteristic has been present in my life since the early days. So in terms of my experience with Spiritism, my very first contact with Spiritism was the book Dear and Glorious Physician by Taylor Caldwell. I do not know if everybody knows, but I do recommend this book very much. It's a wonderful book. And as a matter of fact, I prefer the title of this book in Portuguese, which is Body and Soul Physician. I do not think the author had the intent of writing a Spiritist type of book, but what I know is 100% of the Spiritist centers in Brazil, they use this book as a very important reference for study. They were told that this author, Taylor Caldwell, was guided by the spirits on her research, so the story was as accurate as possible. Same for the main message that is on this book. So I highly recommend this book. It tells about St. Luke's spiritual journey. It's a beautiful story about how a man of science became a spiritualistic person. And he was never blind. He was very, very analytical, very sharp man. But his story is really deep. And anyway, I just love that book. And that book really influenced me and confirmed that I should persist on looking for my answers, but always look for evidences and consistency. So once I read that book, a long list of hundreds of other spiritual books followed by. So books from Chico Xavier, you probably heard of him. And Chico, he wrote like 400 books. So lots of good books from Chico Xavier, Allan Kardec. There are several Brazilian writers, like mediums, like Zíbia Gasparetto and others. So the more I read, the more I wanted to know, the more intense were the experiences that I was having at the time. So when I was about 35-ish, I moved to US. I faced some challenges in my life, a recent divorce. My whole life was kind of upside down. This move was like no other in my life. So I really needed to understand all the reasons behind the experiences I was living by then. So finally, in one of my trips back to Brazil to visit my family, I was guided to a Spiritist center in my city, which is Salvador. And the mentor, the mentor of that center, he told me that I was brought here to US for a reason. And the reason was to work. And I said, yeah, I know. I've been working like crazy over there since I arrived in US. I've been working a lot. And he said, no, dear, this is not the type of work I'm talking about. Like you, like he was saying, like me, many others were moved over to help to spread the truth. To bring light to people's journey and participate in this process of enlightenment that has already started. So he was talking about the process that was in progress. So, but that process needed people like me to keep it going, to bring sustainability, to bring reliability to this spiritual transformation. So he told me, you are not the only one. There are others working on it. but the more people we train, in a certain way, he was saying that I've been trained for this, and I had no idea, but he said, the more people we train and bring to the team, the higher the chances of success. So I was in shock by, when I heard of all of that, because there was no way I could ever mention about my belief in my work environment. So I said, there's no way I can talk to engineers that I know about this. So rather they would think like I was losing my mind. And I mentioned that to my mentor. So he said, to the mentor of that center. So he said, don't worry, all will come in time. And he said, but for now, we just need to know that you are working already. And I asked how I was working, and he said, you work a lot while you are sleeping. So that was the kind of explanation that I was waiting for my dreams, and these books and names I was given. So for example, sometimes I was having a dream about a book, and I could read the title of the book, the title of the author, and I have never seen that book. But on the day before, the day after, when I was looking for that book talking about neural networking or something like this, I could see that the book exists and the author exists. So anyway, so perhaps that was the kind of training he was talking about. But then, years passed, and when I first thought about doing something over here, it was kind of a very interesting process, because when I first moved to Houston, I became aware of how bellicose people can be. I have never seen, I love living here, but I have never seen so many people carrying guns and caring about those guns, or, a lot of attention to guns and a lot of money and effort, very much focused on that. So on the other hand, all speeches, all the books, all the lessons that I was given in Brazil about Spiritism, and all the messages about love and the need for us to learn how to love one another, forgiveness, harmony, etc. So all of that built who I am, and pretty much set my mind on this constant seek for peace, as well as convinced me that the more we evolve, the less we need guns, for instance, or the better the quality of our thoughts, the more loving and caring beings we become. So here in Texas, I was given a chance to live a decent life, raise and educate my two sons. So I decided after all these years that it was my turn to say thank you. Thank you for, for having me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to raise my family here. And so I thought it was the time for me to contribute with something, right? So by then I recalled that conversation that I have had 10 years ago with that mentor of the Spiritist center that I visited in Brazil. So he was telling me about the job that I had to do over here. So one night I was watching on YouTube this speech from Dr. Paulo César Frutuoso. He's a Brazilian doctor. And he was talking about his book which is called The Underlying Face of Medicine. And this book talks about his 40+ years of experience or of service in this Spiritist center in Rio de Janeiro. And when I thought, oh my goodness, I have access to Sonia's work. I have access to all this wonderful information, good knowledge, and I have the privilege to have access to all of that. So I said, well, we need to share this with people in US. Everything was in Portuguese, right? So how come several books all the books that I read, they were in Portuguese? So I said, I need to do something. Perhaps it's my turn to do something. I need to bring these people over here. I need to give them a chance to talk to the folks here. I met several people that they are looking for answers like I was looking for when I was, 20, 25, 30 years old. So on that following day that I saw the lecture from Dr. Paulo on YouTube, I looked for Dr. Paulo's phone number. And I talked to him, and I asked if he was willing to come over. And his answer was, he was very serious, and he said he never met me. He didn't know who I was. So he said, listen, girl. And he was serious. I said, oh my gosh, what I'm doing here, he will think I'm crazy. So he said, I have heart issues. And whenever you call me to say those things, if I'm willing to travel to US, you have to be you have to do it slowly, because otherwise I'm gonna die, I'm gonna have something. But he said, I'm extremely happy that you are calling me. I'm extremely excited about the idea, and yes, you can count on me. So immediately he said yes. And I was so happy at that day. I was extremely happy. I said, okay, so that's the way to go. I have 2 people already. I have Sonia, I have Dr. Paulo. But what called my attention was the fact that, not knowing me, every speakers that I was talking to, all of them, they said yes. And so, for example, for Dr. Radin, I know the medical society in Brazil, they have called him many, many times, or Dr. Larry Dossey, they have called him many, many times to come over to Brazil and to present something, and they declined. And all of a sudden, me, who knows me? Nobody. I was calling them, and they were saying yes. So I thought it was very, very interesting. I was very curious to know why. So in one day I was talking to Lívio Barbosa, which is a very talented medium in Brazil. He does those cycle paintings, and he's also a physical medium. And so one day I was talking to him, and Lívio's mentor came to talk to me. And he said, I came over here because I know you have questions. And so please go ahead and ask those questions, and I shall answer. And right away I asked, okay, so why people say yes if they don't know me? Why they are saying yes since they have no idea who I am? So his answer was, there is a program going on, and you are part of it. Now you are giving the lead role for this, and the speakers, they are just following the leader because they are also engaged on this program that is already in progress. So I was like, wow, there's something going on out there, and I do not know. We are just playing a role over here, but really we think we are doing something, we think we are planning, but in reality we are following a major plan, right? So and that was the case. I mean, for every person that I was contacting, and they were saying yes. So for example, we are going to have, like I said, Lívio Barbosa, and he will be doing psychic painting. He is amazing. I have some painting from him. He does painting. Sometimes you go there, you ask for the painting, and you do not know, he doesn't know what's gonna be, but the spirit or the real painter that is, you know, present at the moment will decide whether you are going to have like a past life, you know, the way that you look like in a past life, or how your mentor look like, or, you know, a significant relative or something. But it's always amazing. So we are going to have, and Lívio will be painting all the time. So that's what he's gonna do. He will not have a speak per se, because he will be in trance during the whole seminar, the whole symposium. He will be painting. So we are going to have Larry Dossey. Everybody knows him. So on his lecture, Recovering the Soul, so he'll be talking about evidences that the consciousness survives death. So I guess we all know that, but it's always hear from a doctor, you know, telling us data, giving us consistent data. And I like this idea of, you know, reliable information. We are going to have Magno Franco. I know Magno for many years, and he's like a numerologist. So he will be talking about this, what he calls Pythagorean numerology, and he will be talking about aspects of numerological map and how that works for in our life, you know, aspects of that. I think is a very interesting. At the beginning, when I didn't know about this, it was like, you know, how can, you know, numbers can influence, can have an impact in our life, but it does, and it's amazing. So the other speaker will be Djalma Mota Argolo. I know him for many years. Very talented, experienced, seasoned therapist, and he'll be talking about Jung and the mediumship. So aspects and evidences of Jung's life, tell about his, he'll be talking about Jung's experiences with Spiritism. And I saw this speech in Brazil. Is a very interesting one. Dr. Radin will be talking about the bridge between science and spirituality. So it's gonna be a very nice way to close the symposium, because it's gonna talk about everything that we will cover during the 3 days. And Dr. Paulo César Frutuoso, he'll be talking about his book, The Underlying Face of Medicine. Wagner Borges is also a teacher and a very talented medium in Brazil, very known medium in Brazil, by the way. And he will be talking about the out-of-body experiences. He can do that like conscious. He can do that. And so he will be talking about his experiences and some of the encounters that he had with extra physical beings, what he called extra physical beings, not only spirits, but extra physical beings, like he said. So Guaraciara Roma, she is, I know her as well for many years. She is a psychologist, therapist, life coach, and she'll be talking about the cure in the third millennium. And so basically, she will be talking about what the medicine of the future will be once we learn how to integrate mind, body, and soul. Sonia, everybody knows Sonia, so she'll be talking about recent breakthroughs on ITC. And I was talking to Sonia, and I said, Sonia, I want your best presentation ever. I want a breakthrough. And she was saying, oh, you want to kill me. You always want the, you know. I was asking her, she said that I am always pushing her way too much, but no, she's playing. So in this symposium will take place in a hotel in Houston downtown, and it's called Omni Hotel, the Galleria. And it's a very nice hotel. I visited, and I saw all the guest rooms. I called the attention that the symposium is for 500 people. We are targeting 500 people. It's our first time, so it's going to be kind of small. But the hotel has a capacity for 400. So in the website, there is a link to the hotel, so I recommend the ones that we will be using the hotel to hurry up. I do not know what's going to be, you know, the if we book this for a later date. So it does have 2 restaurants. So, but even though if those restaurants will be full, there will be other restaurants nearby. And Wendy also, she mentioned to me that I should talk about Houston a little bit. And when I think about Houston, I think about 2 words. One is diversity, and the other one is opportunities. Houston is a 2.3 million resident city, so it's kind of big. It's the 4th most populous city in US, followed by New York, after New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. And when I say diversity, is because it's very, we cannot say there is a predominant racial or ethnic composition here, is because we have like 37% of people living here is kind of Anglo-Saxon, and or 37% is Hispanic, 17% is African American, 8% is Asian. So a lot of diversity. More than 145 different languages spoken here in Houston. So for that reason, we have also about, I think it's about 91 consular representation in the city. So it's not very common to have a city with that large number of consular representation. And in terms of opportunities, Houston is, I didn't know that, but when I was looking for facts about Houston, they say that visitors coming over here, they spend over $17 billion. And the industry over here supports more than 125,000 jobs. Is amazing what, you know, the amount of opportunity happening here. And Houston also, and I'm so glad to know that Houston holds the Texas Medical Center with 21 hospitals, and is the largest medical complex in the whole world. So lots and lots and lots of science going on here. So it's the right city to hold an event like science and spirituality connection. And in terms of belief, we have about 90% of people living here, they are Christians. Over those Christians, we have Jewish and all kind of Catholics, Baptist, all kind of faith you can imagine. And the things to do over here, NASA Space Center is the first one. The Houston Museum of Natural Sciences is really, really nice to visit. The Museum of Fine Arts of Houston is also a good place to be on, and lots of parks, and the city is pretty. I really like Houston a lot. 45 minutes away from Galveston area, which is the beach area that we have here. A lot of fun during the summertime. And I think, the personal experience that I have with Sonia was one of the things that Wendy asked me to mention. I worked with Sonia for a few years, I guess 4 or 5 years now. And one interesting experience that I had with Sonia was at the very beginning of my volunteering with her. Sonia, she didn't tell me at that time or on that day, but she was about to do a recording. And that recording, she was calling the South Station to ask question about me. And I didn't know that. On that night, I was working on something for my job, and I thought it was very unusual, but by 9 p.m., I just fell asleep, and it's very, very unusual. I never fell asleep like 9 p.m. It's too early for me. 11, midnight, okay, but never 9 p.m. But that night, it did happen. Well, it happens that exactly at 9 p.m. here in Houston, it was 11 p.m. in Brazil. Sonia was recording already. She started to record by 11. And then she asked some questions to Mr. German, and then she asked about, okay, so do you know Anna? And they say, and the answer was, yes, we know her. She's here. And then she said, who else is there with you? And he said, Tesla. Well, the following day, I called Sonia and I said, Sonia, I had this very strange dream. I dreamt that I was in this huge room. It was looking like a lab or something, because I could see a big table and instrument on the table. And I could see other folks. I was talking to folks working on. And then I said, all of a sudden, I have this person coming in one of my side, and then it gave me a kiss. And when I look at that person, I said, Tesla, is that you? So it was Tesla. He was there. So when I said that, Sonia, she was extremely happy. She said, oh my gosh, this really confirmed the answers. And then she showed me her answers from her recording. So I thought that was really, really nice. A very good confirmation of what she was doing. And anything that I would like to mention about this symposium, anything that I can say is, I just invite people to come over and check on this science and spirituality connection. It's a lot of work, like I mentioned at the beginning. I didn't realize all the work involved, but Craig was right. And it is tough, but it is a lot of fun. You know, all the challenges, everything that we have to face. I mean, when I think about the outcome and what's going to be, it motivates me a lot. And like I mentioned, on the Solar 3, which is the company that I had to open to handle this symposium, Solar 3 website, I'm saying that the idea behind this symposium is really to help on people's awareness about the spiritual or consciousness realms, and about the time we are living now. We are experiencing new theories, new technologies, and also the idea is to show why we need to be well informed. We don't want to tell people what the truth is or where the truth is. We rather want to provide real evidences, real data, sound data, so people can decide, you know, what they want to do on their own journey. And we are not connected to any religion. We respect all beliefs that promote peace, love, enlightenment. So you know, I have already planned for 2020 symposium. I have already a list of speakers. It's amazing how people, and those speakers, they want to pass the message. I start like calling the speakers and inviting them to come over. But today I'm receiving books from people that they don't know me. I do not know how they found my address. So I'm receiving books. I'm receiving phone calls from them. I'm receiving emails from them saying, hey, do you have time? And one thing that I would like to emphasize in this symposium is all the speakers, all of them, they are not charging me a single dollar. They are doing just this for, you know, just because, you know, because they understand what their role is, and they understand how serious this is. And I highly appreciate that on the speakers, and the same way for the speakers for 2020. So believe you or not, I'm already working on 2020 symposium, and that'll be it.
Wow. Anna, that was a fabulous presentation. Thank you so much. And I'm sure everybody's got lots and lots of questions. Craig, over to you.
Wonderful, Anna. It's very exciting. And I think that you're going to be doing a very great service. And this is just the beginning. I remember it was probably 6 or 8 years ago when I asked the team on the other side what it is that they wanted us to do. And they said, the plan is already in place, just follow the plan. So it's exactly the same kind of message that you've got.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. The plan is already in place, just follow the plan.
Question, comment? Anna, I've been following Brazilian Spiritism for many, many years, and I'm fascinated with the mediums, with the physical mediumship there, particularly with the philosophy. Chico Xavier, you mentioned. I've had personal contact with Jose Medrado, and what really moves me is the dedication to the poor, the dedication to making social change. Unfortunately, I find in the West there is a lot of ego involved in mediumship. And to find that stream of purity, of pure dedication, is something that is very, very refreshing. Marian's nodding. Marian, would you like to speak to that one as well?
I mean, it is true about the difference between the Brazilian mediums and also us who are in this part of the world. I live in London, but it has gone into a lot of money situations here, and I can't quite find the stream sometimes of really true teaching anymore, and can't always go to some of the, if you like, demonstrations or talks or whatever, because it is an extremely lot of money for a lot of people to go. So it's really lovely to see, and I've seen it many a times in the Brazilian culture, how they do a lot of things out there and help the poor, which I find is absolutely extraordinary. And also the knowledge in which they have got is, even if you have, as they call it, macumbas or bacumbas, whatever you look at, there's so many different kind of mediumships in Brazil, and we don't even know of half of them and the ability and what they can do. Only that I have never been to Brazil, but have been sort of part of a gentleman who came for a sitting in Great Britain. He was Brazilian, and we sort of talked a little bit, very religious, very Roman Catholic, and his father had passed, and he had a sitting with me. And I said something about going to see a Brazilian medium, but I couldn't quite sort of explain. But it says, when you stand in the church and you turn around and look opposite from where you're in the church, you will see a sign and you will see like a place. Go in there, I said. And he ended up going in a shop that was full of all sort of trickery. And he went in to see this medium. And she was a macumba of a kumpa. She was spinning around, and in the same time also drinking alcohol. But her trance work and what she came out with was absolutely fascinating. In fact, she identified me, and he has not even said that he lived in Great Britain, being Brazilian. But he did say, you have been seeing somebody that's very tall from the frozen north with a lot of blonde hair, and whatever she's told you is right. So that was a very crossover sort of mediumship, was fantastic. Amazing. And it was just really brilliant what she did. And I was very sort of, surprised over it, I have to say. And where, he had to explain to me what this was all about, because it's something we don't really hear a lot about, specific in Europe. We don't really hear a lot about it. But it sounds very fantastic.
That is in my plan, to bring that kind of mediumship over here. That is in my plan. It's going to be in 2020. When I say that 2020, there will be surprises. That's what I'm talking about. For now, I'd like to start from a known point, per se. Like, I didn't want to shock, with the very first, but yes, there will be more to come. Yes.
I just think that it's fantastic, just the way that to share or whatever. I mean, a lot of my clients come from the Brazilian embassy here in London and the consulate. So you do hear stories and you do hear what they're trying to tell you. And I am completely fascinated by the Brazilian mediums and would love to go over there and just have a little research and look also for some of the medium who does work, because you have a lot of, I don't know what you call them, spiritualist churches or temples or whatever. There's one specifically I can remember reading or seeing about a medium that had stones or diamonds that was falling down in the middle of his service, which I thought was fantastic, because that's again into the physical part of mediumship, which I'm involved in, which is brilliant. I just love things like that. That it's not kept in the dark; it's in full light and things like that. It's
exactly. Yes. One thing that I noticed is the Brazilian mediumship, and most of them, they are not interested in promotion. They're not interested in money or any kind of promotion per se, or media. As a matter of fact, once I started with the symposium, one of them, Mr. Wagner Borges, he gave me the rights on one of his books. He doesn't make any money on his books, like Chico Xavier. Chico Xavier wrote 400 books. He didn't hold any right on any of those books. He died as poor as he was once he started with all of that, because in Brazil, all the mediums, they believe in this, and they were told many times by the spirits, you give for free what for free was given to you. So what they have is not a gift, is a chance for them to work and serve, because perhaps in the past they have done things and they have a huge debt. So it's their chance. When we talk about the Holy Father and Holy and Caring Father, this is what it is. There is a chance that, once we meet, we see a medium, is because there is a person that is having a chance to serve.
Yeah.
So
I wish that we knew something like that, because that, I hardly ever charge for my sittings, neither in England, and my demonstrations, which I do, is always very, very minimum what I take. And my church services in England is completely free of charge for nearly the 50 years that I have served, and I still carry on doing it. But when I tell mediums or other people what I charge when they come to see me in London, I actually get to know, if you charge that little, you can be no good. That is our attitude.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
When I realized that, I said, well, they're not promoting themselves, but somebody will need to go ahead and do it. So that's why I want to make sure that everybody understands that I do have a job. I live out of that job. Is a very demanding one, by the way, and I'm not making any money. I'm not interested in. I just want to put this together, and I just want to spread the word. And I remember one boss one day. This is my from my company, a lesson from my company. When I was working back in Brazil. And I had this director coming and visiting us, and he was, at the end of his visit, he was giving us congratulations for, he was visiting this plant, this industrial plant. He was visiting and reviewing everything that we were doing, and he was very pleased with everything that he saw that. And then at the end of his visit, he called us for a meeting, and he was saying thank you, and how great the work, the job that we were doing there was. And then he opened for questions, and I said, okay, so I know you were pleased to what you have seen so far, but I have a question for you. I know we are not perfect, and we are, there's not such a thing, but if there is an opportunity for us to improve, what that would be. And then he was kind of, but you do a wonderful job. I cannot pick up something. And then he was kind of mumbling, and for a while. And then the meeting was over. He went for lunch, and in the afternoon, so he came to my office and said, I've been thinking about your question, and there is one thing that I think is the right answer for you. He said, you guys do a wonderful job over here, but people in US or people in Germany, or because I work for a global company, he said, they don't know about the results that you guys have in here. They don't know that you struggle with the budget, but you do, regardless, you overcome the challenges, and you do a good job, and you have a very good outcomes. So here's the thing that you can improve. Learn how to promote yourselves. Learn how to spread that, all the results, the challenges, and how you overcame the challenges. Learn how to do that. And guess what? That's exactly what I'm trying to do now. So I guess that's what the Brazilian mediums they need to do. Or if they don't know, they need people to do that for them. So that's what we are trying to do here. Somebody asked a question about the date of the conference. Let me mention that a little quick. It's going to be in May 24th to 26th. So for many years, I've been struggling with the liver, something in my liver that absolutely nobody knew what was going on. And when I say nobody, I traveled the world to, visiting doctors because nobody could tell what was going on. But all that I can say is my liver enzymes, they were so high that every doctor that I was visiting, they say, I have never seen something like this. So nobody really believed that I don't drink alcohol because all the enzymes, they were poor, they were terrible. So, however, I've been in one of those hospitals, and all that I needed was, to visit there a couple of times. And after I visited one of these hospitals for the second time, I came back to my home over here in Houston, and then I decided to test. I said, okay, so I'm gonna do a blood test this time and see how it is, all the enzymes. And to my surprise, those the level of my liver enzymes, they were all normal, to the point that in 50 years I tried over and over. My blood type is A negative, is a rare one, and I know that, so I tried over and over and over to donate blood because I know it's a rare type, but I was never able to because of my enzymes. And at the age of 51, I was able to donate for the very first time. I was extremely happy. And really, nobody knew what's going on. Nobody ever saw. But when I was there in the hospital, and it was the day that they said they scheduled the surgery, the spiritual surgery, I remember that I was sitting there, and there was lots of people sitting, around me. All of them patients for different reasons, and then when the procedure started, I saw this very intense light here on my side, and I didn't know exactly. I was just there. I was just sitting there. I didn't know exactly what they were doing, but I could tell that something was going on in my body. And then the guy, senior guy, sitting close to me, he was, I don't know, perhaps because of his problem, I don't know, but he started to cry. And then I said, please forget about me. I'm perfect. I'm really fine. Please take care of this guy. I don't know what's going on, but please take care of this guy. And I don't know, perhaps because of the attitude, but all that I can say is I'm fine. The liver, I'm fine. I no longer have the same issues anymore.
Anna, we have a question. Whereabouts are these Spiritist hospitals? And can you tell us a little bit more about how many there are?
Yes, there is something going on in Brazil, and they have those spiritual hospitals, meaning real doctors, but doctors who believe in spiritism, who believe that doctors practicing what they call the medicine of the future, the integration of body, soul, and mind. So they believe that yes, there is a procedure that we can do here with with pills, antibiotics, etc. We do everything we can do from a physical standpoint, but there is another thing playing a significant role, which is the energy that healing, and that part is led or managed by by the spirits. So in those hospitals, you go there, you tell what your problem is, if you know, and then they schedule you to first to kind of go through a what they call cleaning or energy cleansing or something like this, and then they schedule you for a spiritual surgery, meaning it's not like cutting you or doing anything like this. It's all done by prayer, sometimes just standing or holding hands and just sending energy to you. But that's what it is. And but the doctors, the physicians, I mean, they are there, they believe, and some of them, they are mediums, and so that's what it is.
Thank you, Anna. That's absolutely fascinating. Do they have volunteers in the hospital sending current to the doctors?
Yeah, that is very, very necessary, because that's what it is, right? So they need energy. That energy comes from people like you and me, and doesn't need to be a medium, just need to be there, and be conscious about what's going on, and respectful, and that's what it is.